All right, so things are looking pretty bad in New York, right? The New York Knicks have lost, I think, 9 of their last 11 games. They are playing poorly. All right, they are losing a lot of games. And they just hired their coach. They fired Tom Thibodeau last season, at the end of last season, after the team was like 2 games away from going to the NBA Finals. Uh, and now I'm hearing like Knicks podcast fan base calling for Mike Brown to be fired. That shit sounds crazy to me. I don't think people realize how crazy they sound when they say things like this. You just brought in this guy. You think the GM and the owner now want to remove him and fire him just 2 months into this gig, 3 months into this gig? You sound crazy. Now, it doesn't look good. It's not like they're performing great. But you have to give them an opportunity to find their identity, develop who they want to be, and all those things. He's got a system. He's got a philosophy. You have to let it play out. It's just part of the process. It's facts. The Knicks are playing like shit. They are not playing good right now. In fact, having this player-only meeting that Jalen Brunson was leading, I respect it. I do. I really do respect it. Players holding other players accountable is a beautiful thing. That's a good sign of leadership. The problem is the Knicks are having doubts about themselves, and they're having doubts about Karl Anthony Towns, and you see like the trade rumor mill is kind of turning, and that may be true. They may be looking to move Cat, but they traded for Cat, and they knew what they were getting with him, so it's not like they didn't know what kind of player this was. They moved Julius Randle to get him, right? They knew what they were giving up, and they knew what they were getting back. This is who Cat is. People trying to get Cat to play better defense. People trying to get him to be something he isn't. It's not realistic. He's been in the league for like 10 years. And yes, he's a fantastic offensive player. But there are limitations to what he can and can't do and how he's wired and who he can be. And he really doesn't fit the Knicks mantra. He doesn't really have the DNA of a Knickerbocker. He's not tough. He's not tough-minded. He's not really, doesn't strike me as being resilient or anything. Like the stuff I was hearing on these podcasts in the last 24 hours about Draymond Green and Mike Brown hugging him, and then, Rick Brunson saying, back off my man, and all this other, I don't know about all that. That's like he say, she say. That's a bunch of whatever. But that tells me something. Everybody is questioning Cat, his mentality, the Knicks and their mentality, Mike Brown, why is he dapping up the ops and the adversaries? I get all of that. But when you're losing, all this gets amplified. These are non-stories if the Knicks are winning, but the problem is the Knicks have lost 9 of their last 11 games, and they are playing like straight up trash. We're talking about a Knicks team that started so hot, everybody had them pegged Eastern Conference champions. Send them to the NBA Finals. Now we're talking about the Knicks losing the 3rd spot, moving behind Toronto, possibly the Sixers and the Magic, all within the next couple of games, then possibly even falling behind Cleveland. And everything's set up perfect for the Knicks to go to the finals. The Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton are a non-factor. The Celtics without Jason Tatum. Really, the obstacle for the Knicks would have appeared to have been the Pistons, to give them resistance and make it a tough matchup. Nobody else. Trust me, the fan base in New York and the fans, they're not fearful of anybody outside of maybe the Pistons. But there are probably a handful of teams, clearly at least a handful of teams that are better than the Knicks right now. Absolutely. And I'm just talking about in the East. Don't even talk about the finals. But the East, they're playing horribly. They're playing poorly. Uninspired defensively, a mess offensively without any rhyme or reason. They need to figure this out. I respect Jalen Brunson for holding this meeting, trying to get on the same page with his teammates, and I respect players holding players accountable. But I think there's a lack of professionalism inside that locker room. I think there's a lack of professionalism within the organization that's been absent for a long time. It doesn't surprise me that the Knicks franchise is currently in a state that it makes it look like a circus. That's kind of like how the Knicks have been for a long time. And if they want to change that, it's going to start from the top and move all the way down. And you have to have player personnel who take it very seriously. I think that is part of the reason why Jalen Brunson did this. I think he's trying to get his team to kind of sense the gravity of the situation. They need to get their shit together before this thing gets out of hand. And in some ways, it kind of already has. The Knicks look like crap right now. They look terrible. And if they're not careful, they're really going to slide in the standings. And they'll become a play-in team very quickly. And it's not a light switch. You can't just turn it off and on. You develop your identity as a team during the regular season. And it's who you become as you move into the playoffs. The Knicks, for now, look like trash.